Psalms 76 through 90 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Psalms 76 through 90 of the Book of the Psalms, American Bible Union. Psalm 76. To the chief musician, on stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah is God known. His name is great in Israel. And in Salem was his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. There broke he the arrows of the bow, shield and sword and war. Pause. Resplendent art thou, glorious, more than the mountains of prey. The strong of heart were despoiled. They have slept their sleep, and none of the men of might found their hands. At thy rebuke, O God of Jacob, they lay in deep sleep, both chariot and horse. Thou, terrible art thou! And who may stand before thee when once thou art angry? From heaven thou didst cause judgment to be heard. Earth feared and was still, when God arose to judgment, to save all the humble of the earth. Pause. For the wrath of man shall praise thee, the remnant of wrath thou girdest on. Vow and pay to Jehovah your God. Let all that are about him bring gifts to him that should be feared. He cuts off the spirit of princes. He is terrible to the kings of the earth. Psalm 77. To the chief musician over Jeduthun, a psalm of Asaph. My voice is unto God, and I will cry. My voice is unto God, and do thou give ear to me. In the day of my distress I sought the Lord. My hand by night was stretched out, and slackened not. My soul refused to be comforted. I call God to mind, and sigh. I lament, and my spirit faints. Pause. Thou hast held my eyes waking. I am disquieted, and cannot speak. I thought on the days of old, the years of ancient times. I call to mind my song in the night. I commune with my heart, and my spirit makes search. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he favor no more? Has his mercy ceased forever? Has the promise failed to all generations? Has the Mighty One forgotten to be gracious, or in anger shut up his tender mercies? Pause. And I said, This is my infirmity. Years of the right hand of the Most High will I commemorate, the deeds of Jah. For I will remember thy wonders from of old, and I will meditate on all thy work, and think on all thy doings. O God, in holiness is thy way. Who is a mighty one, great like God? Thou art the mighty one, doing wonders. Thou hast made known thy strength among the peoples. Thou hast redeemed with the arm thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Pause. The waters saw thee, O God, the waters saw thee, they trembled, yea, the depths quaked. The clouds poured out water, the skies uttered a voice. Yea, thine arrows went abroad, the voice of thy thunder rolled along. Lightnings lightened the world, the earth quaked and shook. Thy way was in the sea, and thy paths in great waters, and thy footsteps were not known. Thou didst guide thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Psalm 78. Didactic psalm of Asaph. Give ear, my people, to my law. Incline your ear to the sayings of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings from of old. What we have heard and have known, and our fathers have told us, we will not hide from their children, recounting to after generations the praises of Jehovah, and his might, and his wonders which he wrought. For he set up a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, to make them known to their sons, to the end that after generations might know, sons might be born, might arise and tell to their sons, and might place in God their hope, and not forget the deeds of the Mighty One, and might keep his commandments, and not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that was not steadfast in their heart, and their spirit was not truthful with God. The sons of Ephraim, armed bowmen, turned back in the day of conflict. They kept not the covenant of God, and in his law they refused to walk, and they forgot his deeds and his wonders which he showed them. In the sight of their fathers he wrought wonders. In the land of Egypt, the plain of Zoan. He divided the sea, and let them pass through, and he made the waters stand as a heap. And he guided them in the cloud by day, and every night in the light of fire. He clave rocks in the wilderness, and gave them water as the depths abundantly. And he brought flowing streams out of the cliff, and made waters run down like rivers. And they continued still to sin against him, to rebel against the Most High in the desert. And they tempted God in their heart, so as to ask food for their greediness. And they spoke against God. They said, Is the Mighty One able to spread a table in the wilderness? Lo, he smote the rock, and the waters flowed, and streams gushed out. Will he also be able to give bread, or will he provide flesh for his people? Therefore Jehovah heard and was wroth, and fire was kindled in Jacob, and also anger rose up against Israel, because they did not believe in God, and trusted not in his deliverance. And he commanded the skies above, and the doors of heaven he opened, and rained upon them manna for food, and grain of heaven he gave them. Bread of the mighty did man eat, he sent them provision in abundance. He caused an east wind to blow in the heavens, and led by his strength a south wind. And he rained flesh upon them as the dust, and winged fowl as the sand of the seas, and let them fall in the midst of his encampment, round about his dwellings. And they ate and were fully satisfied, and he brought them their desire. They were not estranged from their desire, their food was yet in their mouths. And the anger of God came up against them, and he slew among the stoutest of them, and Israel's young men he brought low. For all this they still sinned, and believed not in his wonders. And he consumed their days in vanity, and their years in terror. If he slew them, then they sought him, and returned, and eagerly inquired after God. And they remembered that God was their rock, and the Mighty One, the Most High, their Redeemer. But they deceived him with their mouth, and with their tongue they lied to him. And their heart was not steadfast with him, and they were not truthful to his covenant. But he, the compassionate, covers iniquity and destroys not. And many times he turned away his anger, and would not rouse up all his wrath. For he remembered that they were flesh, a breath that goes and returns not. How oft they rebelled against him in the wilderness, grieved him in the desert. And they tempted God anew, and offended the Holy One of Israel. They remembered not his hand, the day when he redeemed them from the foe, when he set his signs in Egypt, and his portents in the plain of Zoan, and turned their rivers into blood, and their streams they could not drink. He sent among them flies, and they devoured them, and frogs, and they desolated them. And he gave their increase to the caterpillar, and their labor to the locust. He killed their vines with hail, and their sycamores with frost, and delivered up their cattle to the hail, and their herds to the lightnings. He cast upon them the burning of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and anguish, an embassy of angels of evil. He leveled a path for his anger. He withheld not their soul from death, and their life he delivered up to the plague. And he smote every firstborn in Egypt, the firstlings of strength in the tents of Ham. And he removed as a flock his own people, and guided them as a herd in the wilderness. And he led them on safely, and they feared not. But their enemies the sea overwhelmed. And he brought them to his holy border, this mountain which his right hand won. And he drove out nations before them, and allotted them an inheritance by line, and caused the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. And they tempted and rebelled against God Most High, and his testimonies they did not keep. And they turned back and dealt falsely like their fathers. They turned aside like a deceitful bow. And they provoked his displeasure with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. God heard and was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel. And he rejected the dwelling at Shiloh, the tabernacle which he set up among men, and gave up to captivity his strength, and his glory into the hand of the foe. And he delivered up his people to the sword, and was wroth with his inheritance. His young men fire consumed, and his maidens were not praised. His priests fell by the sword, and his widows wept not. As the Lord awaked, as one that slept, as a mighty man jubilant with wine, and he smote back his foes, he laid upon them eternal reproach. And he rejected the tabernacle of Joseph, and the tribe of Ephraim he did not choose. And he chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion which he loved. And he built his sanctuary as the heights of heaven, as the earth which he founded forever. And he chose David his servant, and took him from the sheepfolds. From following the suckling ewes he took him, to be shepherd over Jacob his people, and over Israel his inheritance. And he fed them after the integrity of his heart, and by the skillfulness of his hands he led them. Psalm 79. A psalm of Asaph. O God, the heathen have come into thy inheritance. They have defiled thy holy temple. They have made Jerusalem heaps. They have made the dead bodies of thy servants food for the fowls of heaven, the flesh of thy saints for the beasts of the earth. They have shed their blood like water round about Jerusalem, and there is none to bury. We have become a contempt to our neighbors, a scorn and derision to those around us. How long, O Jehovah? Wilt thou be angry forever? Will thy jealousy burn like fire? Pour out thy wrath upon the heathen who know thee not, and upon the kingdoms that call not on thy name. For they have devoured Jacob, and have laid waste his dwelling place. Remember not against us the iniquities of the forefathers. Haste, let thy compassions meet us, for we are brought very low. Help us, O God of our salvation, on account of the honor of thy name, and rescue us and cover over our sins for the sake of thy name. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their God? Let there be known among the heathen in our sight the avenging of the blood of thy servants that is shed. Let the sighing of the prisoner come before thee. According to the greatness of thine arm, spare those appointed to death. And return to our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach, wherewith they reproached thee, O Lord. And we, thy people, and flock of thy pasture, will give thanks to thee forever. To generation and generation we will recount thy praise. Psalm 80. To the chief musician, to the melody, Lilies, a testimony. A psalm of Asaph. Shepherd of Israel, give ear, thou that leadest Joseph as a flock, thou that sittest above the cherubim, shine forth. Before Ephraim and Benjamin and Manasseh, rouse up thy might, and come for our salvation. O God, restore us, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Jehovah God of hosts, how long art thou angry at the prayer of thy people? Thou hast made them eat the bread of tears, and given them tears to drink by the measure. Thou makest us a strife to our neighbors, and our enemies make themselves sport. O God of hosts, restore us, and cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. A vine thou didst remove out of Egypt, didst drive out nations and plant it. Thou hast cleared away before it. And it struck down its roots, and it filled the land. The mountains were covered with its shade, and its boughs were as the cedars of God. And it sent out its branches unto the sea, and its suckers to the river. Wherefore hast thou broken down its walls, and all pluck it that pass by the way? The boar out of the wood wastes it, and the beast of the field feeds on it. O God of hosts, return, we pray. Look from heaven, and behold, and visit this vine, and shelter what thy right hand planted, and the child thou hast made strong for thyself. It is burned with fire, it is cut down. At the rebuke of thy countenance they perish. Let thy hand be over the man of thy right hand, over the Son of Man whom thou madest strong for thyself. And we will not go back. Thou wilt quicken us, and we will call on thy name. Jehovah God of hosts, restore us. Cause thy face to shine, and we shall be saved. Psalm 81. To the chief musician, on the Gittith, a psalm of Asaph. Make a joyful noise to God our strength. Shout aloud to the God of Jacob. Raise a song, and let the timbrel sound, the sweet harp with the lute. Blow the trumpet in the new moon, in the full moon, on the day of our solemn feast. For this is a statute for Israel, an ordinance of the God of Jacob. He appointed it for a testimony in Joseph, when he went forth over the land of Egypt. I heard a language that I knew not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands withdrew from the basket. In the distress thou didst call, and I rescued thee. I answered thee in the vale of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of strife. Pause. Hear, O my people, and I will testify against thee, O Israel, if thou wilt hearken to me. There shall not be in thee a strange god, and thou shalt not worship a foreign god. I, Jehovah, am thy God, he that brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it. And my people hearkened not to my voice, and Israel did not incline to me. And I gave them up to the stubbornness of their heart. They go on in their own counsels. If my people hearkened to my voice, if Israel would walk in my ways, soon would I humble their enemies, and again lay my hand on their foes. Haters of Jehovah should profess submission to him, and their time should be forever. He would feed them with the marrow of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock would I satisfy thee. Psalm 82, a psalm of Asaph. God stands in the congregation of the mighty one. In the midst of the gods he judges. How long will ye judge wrongfully, and accept the persons of the wicked? Pause. Judge the weak and the orphan. Do justice to the afflicted and poor. Deliver the weak and needy. Rescue from the hand of the wicked. They know not, and they will not understand. They go their way in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I have said, ye are gods, and sons of the highest, all of you. Yet surely as men shall ye die, and as any of the princes shall ye fall. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit among all the nations. Psalm 83, a song, a psalm of Asaph. O God, do not thou be quiet. Do not hold thy peace, and do not rest, O mighty one. For lo, thine enemies rage, and thy haters have lifted up the head. Against thy people they take crafty counsel, and they consult together against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us destroy them from being a nation, and let the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they have taken counsel and heart together. Against thee they make a league. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab and the Hagarites, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, Philistia with the inhabitants of Tyre. Also Ashur is joined with them. They have become an arm to the sons of Lot. Pause. Do to them as to Midian, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook Kishon. They were destroyed at Endor. They became dung for the ground. Make them, their nobles, as Oreb and as Zeeb, and all their princes as Zebah and as Zalmunna, who have said, Let us take possession for ourselves of the dwelling places of God. My God, make them like the whirling dust, like chaff before the wind, as fire consumes a forest, and as a flame kindles mountains. So wilt thou pursue them with thy tempest, and with thy whirlwind terrify them. Fill their face with shame, and they shall seek thy name, Jehovah. They shall be shamed and terror-stricken forever, and shall be confounded and perish. And they shall know that thou, thy name Jehovah alone, art most high over all the earth. Psalm 84, to the chief musician, on the Gittith, a psalm of the sons of Korah. How lovely are thy dwellings, O Jehovah of hosts! My soul longs, yea, even faints for the courts of Jehovah. My heart and my flesh cry out for the living God. Yea, the sparrow has found a house, and the swallow has a nest, where she lays her young. Thine altars, Jehovah of hosts, my King and my God. Happy they who dwell in thy house. Continually do they praise thee. Pause. Happy the man who has his strength in thee, in their heart the pilgrim ways. Passing through the valley of weeping, they make it a place of fountains. Yea, the autumn rain clothes it with blessings. They go from strength to strength. They appear, each one before God in Zion. Jehovah God of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. Pause. Behold, O God, our shield, and look on the face of thine anointed. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than dwell in the tents of wickedness. For Jehovah God is a sun and a shield. Grace and glory will Jehovah give. He withholds no good from them that walk uprightly. Jehovah of hosts, Happy the man that trusts in thee. Psalm 85. To the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah. Thou wast favorable, O Jehovah, to thy land. Thou didst turn the captivity of Jacob. Thou didst take away the iniquity of thy people, didst cover all their sin. Pause. Thou didst withdraw all thy wrath, didst turn away from the burning of thine anger. Restore us, O God of our salvation, and cause thy displeasure against us to cease. Wilt thou forever be angry with us? Wilt thou draw out thine anger to generation and generation? Wilt not thou again revive us, and thy people shall rejoice in thee? Let us see thy mercy, O Jehovah, and grant us thy salvation. I will hear what the mighty one Jehovah will speak, for he will speak peace to his people and to his saints, and let them not turn again to folly. Surely his salvation is near to them that fear him, that glory may dwell in our land. Mercy and truth have met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Truth springs up out of the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. Yea, Jehovah will give the promised good, and our land will yield its increase. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall make his footsteps a way. Psalm 86. A prayer of David. Incline thine ear, O Jehovah, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my soul, for I am a beloved one. Save thy servant, O thou my God, that trusts in thee. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for to thee do I cry all the day. Rejoice the soul of thy servant, for to thee do I lift up my soul. For thou, Lord, art good and ready to forgive, and abundant in mercy to all that call upon thee. Give ear, O Jehovah, to my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my distress I call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. There is none like thee among the gods, O Lord, and no works like thine. All nations which thou hast made shall come and bow down before thee, O Lord, and shall give glory to thy name. For thou art great and doest wonders, thou art God alone. Teach me, Jehovah, thy way. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with my whole heart, and will glorify thy name forevermore. For great is thy mercy toward me, and thou hast rescued my soul from the underworld beneath. O God, the proud have risen up against me, and an assembly of the violent have sought after my soul, and have not set thee before them. But thou, O Lord, art a God compassionate and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth. Turn toward me and be gracious to me. Give thy strength to thy servant, and grant deliverance to the son of thy handmaid. Show me a token for good, and they that hate me shall see and be ashamed, because thou, Jehovah, hast helped me and comforted me. Psalm 87. A psalm of the sons of Korah. A song. His foundation is in the holy mountains. Jehovah loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God. Pause. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon among them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. This one was born there, and of Zion it shall be said, this and that man was born in her. And he, the Most High, will establish her. Jehovah will count in writing up the peoples. This one was born there. Pause. And singers as well as players say, all my springs are in thee. Psalm 88. A song. A psalm of the sons of Korah. To the chief musician, on occasion of affliction by sickness. Didactic psalm of Heman the Ezrahite. Jehovah, God of my salvation, by day I cry out, by night before thee. Let my prayer come before thee. Incline thine ear to my cry. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to the underworld. I am reckoned with them that go down to the pit. I am become as a man without strength. Forsaken among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom thou rememberest no more, and they are cut off from thy hand. Thou hast laid me in the lowest pit, in dark places, in the depths. Thy wrath lies heavy upon me, and with all thy waves thou hast afflicted me. Pause. Thou hast put my acquaintance far away from me. Thou hast made me an abomination to them. Shut up, and I cannot go forth. My eye wastes away through affliction. I call upon thee, Jehovah, all the day. I spread out my hands unto thee. Wilt thou do wonders to the dead, or will the shades rise up and praise thee? Pause. Will thy loving kindness be told in the grave, thy faithfulness in destruction? Will thy wonders be made known in the darkness, and thy righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? And I unto thee, Jehovah, have cried for help, and in the morning my prayer shall come before thee. Wherefore, O Jehovah, dost thou cast off my soul? Dost hide thy face from me? I am afflicted and ready to expire from my youth. I have borne thy terrors, am in despair. Thine indignations have passed over me. Thy terrors have consumed me. They have encompassed me like waters all the day. Together they beset me round. Thou hast put far from me lover and friend, my acquaintance, the place of darkness. Psalm 89, Didactic Psalm of Ethan the Ezrahite. I will sing of the mercies of Jehovah forever. To generation and generation will I make known thy faithfulness with my mouth. I said, mercy shall be built up forever. The heavens, in them thou wilt establish thy faithfulness. I have made a covenant for my chosen one. I have sworn to David my servant. Forever will I establish thy seed, and build up thy throne to generation and generation. Pause. And the heavens praise thy wonders, O Jehovah, yea, thy faithfulness in the assembly of the holy ones. For who in the skies can be compared to Jehovah, is like to Jehovah among the sons of the mighty? A God greatly to be feared in the council of the holy ones, and terrible above all that are round about him. Jehovah, God of hosts, who is mighty like thee, O Jah, and thy faithfulness is round about thee. Thou rulest the swelling of the sea. When its billows rise, thou stillest them. Thou didst crush Rahab like the slain. With thy strong arm thou didst scatter thy enemies. The heavens are thine, thine also is the earth. The world and its fullness, thou didst found them. North and south, thou didst create them. Tabor and Hermon triumph in thy name. Thine is an arm with might. Strong is thy hand, high is thy right hand. Righteousness and judgment are the foundation of thy throne. Mercy and truth wait before thee. Happy the people that know the joyful sound. Jehovah, in the light of thy countenance shall they walk. In thy name do they exult all the day, and in thy righteousness are they exalted. For thou art the glory of their strength, and in thy favor our horn is exalted. For to Jehovah belongs our shield, and to the Holy One of Israel our King. Then thou didst speak in vision to thy beloved one, and saidst, I have laid help on a mighty one, have exalted one chosen out of the people. I have found David my servant, with my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established, also my arm shall strengthen him. No enemy shall exact of him, or son of wickedness oppress him. And I will beat down his foes before him, and will smite them that hate him. And my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. And I set his hand on the sea, and his right hand on the rivers. He will cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I too will make him the firstborn, highest of the kings of the earth. My mercy will I keep for him forever, and my covenant is sure to him. And I establish his seed forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. If his sons shall forsake my law, and walk not in my judgments, if they shall profane my statutes, and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgressions with a rod, and their iniquity with stripes. But my loving kindness will I not withdraw from him, and will not be false to my faith. I will not profane my covenant, nor alter what has gone forth from my lips. Once have I sworn by my holiness, I will not lie to David. His seed shall be forever, and his throne as the sun before me. As the moon shall it stand fast forever, and as the witness in the skies is sure. Pause. But thou hast cast off and abhorred, thou hast been wroth with thine anointed. Thou hast made void the covenant of thy servant, thou hast profaned to the earth his crown. Thou hast broken down all his walls, hast made his defenses a ruin. They plunder him all that pass by the way. He has become the scorn of his neighbors. Thou hast exalted the right hand of his foes, hast made all his enemies rejoice. Yea, thou turnest back the edge of his sword, and hast not made him stand in the battle. Thou hast made his brightness to cease, and his throne thou hast cast down to the earth. Thou hast cut short the days of his youth, thou hast covered over him with shame. Pause. How long, O Jehovah, wilt thou hide thyself forever? Shall thy wrath burn like fire? Remember what is my fleeting life. Why hast thou for naught created all the sons of men? What man shall live and not see death, shall deliver his soul from the grasp of the underworld? Pause. Where are thy former mercies, O Lord, which thou didst swear to David in thy faithfulness? Remember, Lord, the reproach of thy servants, that I bear in my bosom of all the many peoples. Wherewith thine enemies have reproached, O Jehovah, wherewith they have reproached the footsteps of thine anointed. Blessed be Jehovah forevermore. Amen and amen. Fourth Book. Psalm 90. A prayer of Moses, the man of God. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, and thou gavest birth to the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting thou art God. Thou turnest man to dust, and sayest, Return, ye sons of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are as yesterday when it passes away, and a watch in the night. Thou sweepest them away, they are asleep. In the morning as the grass that springs up, in the morning it flourishes and springs up. At evening it is cut down and withers. For we consume away in thine anger, and in thy wrath are we troubled. Thou hast set our iniquities before thee, our hidden things in the light of thy countenance. For all our days pass away in thy wrath, we spend our years like a thought. The days of our years, in them are 80 years and 10, and if through strength 80 years, yet is their pride toil and vanity, for it is soon past, and we fly away. Who knows the power of thine anger, and as the fear of thee thy wrath? So teach to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Return, O Jehovah! How long? And have pity on thy servants. Satisfy us with thy mercy in the morning, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad according to the days thou hast afflicted us, the years we have seen evil. Let thy work appear unto thy servants, and thy majesty upon their sons. And let the beauty of Jehovah our God be upon us, and the work of our hands establish thou upon us. Yea, the work of our hands, establish thou it. The end of Psalms 76 through 90. Recording by Mark Penfold.